מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי לא אחסר. בנות דשא ירביצני על מי מנוחות ינחלני. נפשי ישובב, ינחני במגלי צדק למען שמו. גם כי אלך בגיא צלמוות, לא אירא רע, כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי. דשנת ושמן ראשי כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדיפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. I've chanted for you the words of our 23rd Psalm. At these moments when our hearts are breaking and when we are in need of comfort and strength, we often turn to the psalmist, and so I ask you now to recite these words with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember her. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember her. In the opening buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember her. In the blueness of sky and in the warmth of summer, we will remember her. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember her. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember her. When we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember her. When we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember her. So long as we live, she too will live, for she is now a part of us as we remember Lois Sosna. To her children, to Ron, Rick, and Robin, to her stepson, Randy, also to Hyla and Bill, to her grandchildren, Robbie, Amy, Jason, Michael, Adam, Kelly, and Bobby, Danny and Kyle, and also to Alyssa, Ben, Justin, Nicole, and Casey, and to her sweet great-grandchildren, Paxton and Dylan, Wyatt and Julian, Asher, and to sweet little Sydney, who's here with us today, to her sister-in-law Bonnie and her brother-in-law Charles, and we also lovingly remember today Lois's daughter Randy of blessed memory. To all the members of the family, and to so many dear and cherished friends, we've come together today to remember, but also to find strength in celebrating the life of your beloved Lois. It's said that birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey. And so today we discuss Lois's journey of 90 years, a journey that began here in Cleveland, She was born in 1928 to Lawrence and Estelle Saunders, and with her younger brother Don, Lois grew up on Enderby in Shaker Heights. Her childhood years were somewhat charmed. Lois took dance classes at Florence Shapiro's School of Dance. She enjoyed a wonderful group of friends. And Lois and Don's father was fortunate, especially at this time in our nation's history, to be successful in owning and operating Saunders Manufacturers and Novelty, a fabulous toy store. Lois grew up adoring both her mother and father. She was also a product of the Shaker Heights school system, and she was extremely proud of that. In addition to attending her classes, she kept busy with a very fun and active social life. Now, when Lois was in high school, perhaps 17 or 18 years old, she met Bob Worth. He had just returned home from serving our country, and he was 7 years her senior. They were at a gathering of the Saunders and Wertheimer families, and Lois definitely noticed him. But Bob basically ignored her. She looked adorable in her bobby socks, and he was not interested. But it seemed several months later, when the family had reconvened for the funeral of Aunt Peppy, as Lois would tell the story, it was a rainy day, and Bob was quite chivalrous, offering her his umbrella, his raincoat. And from this moment, the two started to date, and love blossomed. Being that he was much older, his parents were not so excited about this. And following her graduation from Shaker Heights High School, they thought it best that their daughter go off to college. And so she attended Berger Junior College in New Jersey, but only for 1 year. It seems that she and Bob could not be apart. She promptly returned home and married her beloved Bob. Her children shared with me that their parents were married on November 16th, 1948, with Rabbi Abba Hillel Silver officiating. In their years together as a couple, they enjoyed being with family. They loved being with their couples clubs, dining out with friends, and they even bowled together on a couples league. Lois and Bob both wished for a large family. And so when Ron and Rick and Robin and Randy entered into their world, this Worth family portrait became all the more beautiful and complete. With their names all beginning with the letter R, the family joke was as follows: Robert, Ron, Ricky, Robin, Randy, and Rois. Did I get that right? Okay. Family vacations were the best times, and I think for her children, they remain some of the sweetest memories. Traveling in the family station wagon, all 6 of you, long drives with siblings nudging and probably arguing along the way. These family vacations, driving to Florida, upstate New York, Atlantic City, and you would do this multiple times a year. And at home in Beechwood, growing up on East Braintree, these provided some of your best times as well. Your dad would allow you to bring home any kind of pet. At the Worth home, you could find pet frogs, lizards, snakes, squirrel monkeys. Your mother was absolutely not supportive of this. This was not her thing. Your dad somehow encouraged her to go along with it, though. And then the story of when the kids and Lois left the house for the day. When they came back, your father had hired some people to come in and dig a huge hole in the backyard, and this became the family pool. Actually, the story goes that he may have accidentally crossed over some property lines in building the pool, so it became more of a community pool. He quickly invited all the neighbors, and this had provided so many opportunities for wonderful summer fun, for celebrations, the annual Worth family luau. These are great memories. Lois and Bob were quite the team. They were a team in raising their children together and in working side by side. They worked for a company that dealt first in land sales and then was a front runner to timeshares. And as a couple, as a sales team, Lois was the sweet and warm salesperson while Bob was the reliable closer. In May of 1975, your dad tragically lost a 5-year battle with cancer, and he was only 54 years old. Your parents at the time had been married just a little over 27 years. And during his illness, you saw your mother as devoted and caring, and you said she never left his side until the very end. Ron, you described your mom as a woman who was unique. You said she was a bit of a character, and she could be a tough cookie. She also had no filter. For better or for worse, she told it like it was. Ron, you also said she seemed to be interested in whatever you were interested in, and that she was impossible to keep a secret from her. If you had come home from some night out, maybe even a date, she would try to pry every single detail from you. I hope that this was a way you recognized of her showing concern and interest in your life. And Rick, you described her as loving. It seems at your moment of birth, you had a little bit of a rough start coming into this world. And so it was the norm in your earliest years and even throughout your life that she was very protective of you. She would always say how she wanted to just eat you up. And so you would call her in return, Machke Eater. I'm also told, Rick, that you were a little bit of a bad boy. You turned out beautifully, but you might have had a couple rough spots along the way. And there was your mom, always ready to jump in to your defense, showing you unconditional love. And Robin, you have memories of your mom doting on you and your sister, Randy. She loved to dress her girls up in matching outfits, including the shoes and the beautiful little gloves. And sometimes Mom would like to dress to match you and your sister, like the time when you and Randy and your mom all wore matching yellow dresses to a family b'nai mitzvah. As a teen, Robin, sometimes you and Mom would even share clothes. And Robin, she would always refer to you as Robin Hood the Good. In her last years and months, you made sure to be with her all the time. When you were here living in town, and even once you moved to North Carolina, you made sure to be here with your mom every 4 to 6 weeks without fail. And whether it was Ron and Rick in Las Vegas or you, Robin, between Cleveland and North Carolina, all three of you as a team were always sure to have your mom's best interest at hand, especially in protecting her dignity. And this, of course, is the greatest gift you could have given her, protecting her dignity till the end. Your mom was so fortunate in finding love not once, but twice. After her first husband's passing, she married her longtime friend, Bob Sosna. They shared a lovely home together in Mayfield Village, and Lois's children described Bob to me as a sweet guy, a really nice man, and they said that their mom and Bob had a beautiful marriage. What did they like doing together? It didn't matter. They just enjoyed being together. They remained married for 10 years until the time of his passing. It seems that Lois's life had a great amount of challenges and a great amount of loss. She suffered several miscarriages. She was a survivor of breast cancer. She lost 2 beloved husbands. And the greatest, most tragic loss, of course, the passing of her daughter, Randy, in 2004. We know this had to have been devastating, but I think we're also wise enough to know that there's no adequate words to describe what this must have been for her. It's very hard to imagine how Lois found the strength to continue on, but with her feistiness and with her tough cookie-mindedness, these qualities must have had something to do with her and her will to keep moving forward. Lois, in the workplace, spent many years at Ray Phillips in sales. She was a sharp dresser and a fashion-forward kind of gal, always looking beautiful, Customers would come to the store and ask for Lois, and if she wasn't there, they would leave and come back when she was there. Why? Because they knew she'd be honest with them. They trusted her. If they tried something on, she would tell them if they looked fabulous or not. They could rely on her. I didn't mean for that to be funny. But she was trustworthy. Lois, as one of her grandsons told me, possessed a unique and sometimes dark sense of humor. And as her children told me, with pride and with a little bit of fear, she kept a meticulous and beautiful home. It was sometimes tough growing up in that meticulous home, but she ran a tight ship, and that home was beautiful. She loved playing mahjong and canasta, and while she was not a religious woman, she did have a very strong and proud connection to the Cleveland Jewish community. She was very close to Rabbi Abihilo Silver, who married her and her first husband, Bob. She had a special bond with the temple on the Heights. Lois's great-grandfather was Rabbi Sigmund Drexler, who served as a rabbi at that congregation. There was a time when Lois went to see Rabbi Rudolph Rosenthal at Heights Temple. This was following the death of her second husband, Bob Sosna. Before she left his study, Rabbi Rosenthal took the portrait of her grandfather, Rabbi Drexler, off of his wall and gave it to her, handed her this portrait of her great-grandfather, and this sweet gesture really stayed with her. This meant the world to her. Lois remained very social throughout her life, and when she would take the time to enjoy a drink, a cocktail, it was usually a dirty martini. I think it was Kelly who told me she liked to order a dirty martini, hold the vermouth, rocks on the side, extra olives, and a sidecar. I didn't know what a sidecar was, but apparently that meant have another one ready just in case. Lois volunteered at Mount Sinai Hospital, helping to transport patients. She was active in Ort and B'nai B'rith. And I also want to mention a special member of the family, her cousin Marianne. It seems that at the end of Lois's life, I think Robin was with her at this moment. Perhaps Randy was with her at that moment as well. But Robin, when you were with your mom, you said that she was calling out. She asked for mother, and she asked for father, and she asked for her brother, and then she asked for sister. And we know she did not have a sister. But you remarked that her first cousin, Marianne, was so close to her that Lois felt that she was like a sister. Whether you knew her as Mom, Nana, Grandma, or Aunt Potty Mouth, Lois was a woman who loved and appreciated the entire family. She was blessed to have had wonderful parents and her brother Don, whom she cared for deeply. She was blessed to have 2 loving marriages, and of course, her beautiful family, her children, her grandchildren, and her 6 great-grandchildren. And so today, we join with the sages of our people as we declare these words, Zichrona Livracha. We pray that the memory of Lois Sosna will always be for a blessing. And to this we can say, Amen. We're taught that words which come from the heart enter directly to the heart. And at this time, there are a number of her grandchildren who have words in their heart they want to share with all of us.
Thank you all for coming here. I'm Bobby, Lois's grandson, one of her grandchildren. Grandma was a special person. She had a big family, and she loved having a big family. she had a really big heart and really enjoyed getting everybody together. She loved very hard, and if she loved anything, it was her children, her son-in-law Bill, her daughter-in-laws. She she was a very passionate person, and if you were one of the people that she liked and loved, then you were safe and you were protected. If you were not, God help you. But she was devout and loyal, and if you were on her side, then you were in and you were safe. But she was passionate, and she was so close with her children. She was my mom's best friend, and we would see her at least twice a week growing up. We'd see her for dinner on Mondays at the same place every time, and probably a lunch on the weekends. And Lord knows my mom went to lunch with her almost every day for 2 or 3 hours. But they had a fantastic relationship, and we got to see our great aunts and our cousins often, and it was fantastic memories. She was always there with a kind word or a little jab or something to say. But she meant a lot to us growing up, and it's great to see that she meant so much to so many people here. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amy. I'm Ron's daughter, so her granddaughter. Um, it's really surreal to be here. She, as a canner touched on, had a lot of suffering in her life, and she lived through it all, and she survived it all. And so, it's hard to believe that she's gone. She just had a will to live, and she was, a tough cookie. That's for sure. And she loved, she did have caring though. She cared for her plants a lot. She really loved her plants. And if she took that though, if somebody was suffering, she would go care for that person and really show them a deep commitment to their last years on earth. She loved her kids. She really loved Uncle Ricky and Aunt Randy. She loved Aunt Robin and Dad too. But she did. She's got a loving, beautiful family that she created, and that we're all here. I'm amazed at all of you here. It's special to see, and thank you. Sorry, I don't know. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Rob Worth, one of the grandchildren also, and I look around and it just great. She had such an awesome, large family, and all the progeny. I mean, we have 3 generations of us here, and we all love each other, and it's she was neat. I got to come stay with her one time when I was 8 years old, and she kept such a meticulous house that after I had spilt my cereal milk on the floor, and I cleaned it up and rinsed it, but then she sniffed it out, found it, and even told me what cereal it was. She was odd, but such a sense of humor, and she loved. I mean, if it was us, like everybody says, or men, she loved men too. And I always remember her asking when Jacob's Field was built, Melt. Had to, and but she was really, I mean, just unique. I mean, she never hesitated to tell anybody what she thought, whether you wanted to hear it or not. And she had so much, like Bobby said, if you were on her good side, you were on her good side. She passed the day before Passover for Uncle Bill. It was probably Purim would have been better because she was kind of like Haman. Yes, everybody, but yeah, she was just awesome. I mean, there's never a story about grandma where people don't smile and laugh. Um, that's really the big one, you know. You couldn't walk away without smiling and laughing after any conversation with her. Um, just awesome, and that's it. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad everybody's here.
Hi, I'm Kelly. I am her youngest grandchild, I think, and very relieved to know that it's Rob's fault we all had to eat over the sink. Even though I live in Vegas, I was fortunate to be able to come up 3 to 4 times a year and get to spend a week or so with my grandma Lois. And my favorite thing about her is she wasn't one for boundaries. That's for sure, and I definitely learned a lot. Her very unique way of being expressive when speaking, learned from Grandma, and how to pull off red cheetah print and order a proper martini. And I don't know, I'll always look back fondly on my memories with Grandma, especially when I hear an F-bomb in public or I'm running my hands on the wall. Or eating ice cream for dinner. Yes, I think we'll all smile and think of Grandma Lois. So thank you all for coming and being with us here today. You're up. See you.
Hello, I'm Justin Saunders. I'm Lois's nephew. My father, Don, was her brother. It's really, really nice to see so many people that came here because they cared about her. She's someone that's hard to forget and that will leave a lasting impression. She had what I'd call a colorful mastery of the English language. I'm the one that affectionately nicknamed her Aunt Potty Mouth. So if you've spent any time with her, that's very fitting. But she's also a very strong woman. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to lose 2 husbands and keep on persevering. She made it over 90 years. Left a great legacy of a family that really cares about each other. And it's pretty amazing to say that. You know, I've got very colorful but fond memories of her, and I just feel lucky to be a part of the family, and I wanted to thank everybody for coming.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kyle. Robin is my mother. Growing up with Lois was, you'd hang out by going to stores and going shopping and going to restaurants, and if you were lucky you'd get to go to CVS. Sometimes you'd get to sleep over at her house. I actually learned this, I just learned this yesterday, it was great, that if you wanted to watch TV in her bedroom for the older cousins, then you had to pull your pants down. You couldn't wear your dirty pants on her bed to sit down and watch TV. I never knew that. She got a TV by the time I was older. So she made her own rules. She lived by her own independent moral code, and my mom was always with her. I think that one of the best things that I learned from my grandmother was the relationship that my mom and her had together. The loyalty that was built there was amazing. And I've never seen a relationship quite like that. You guys were inseparable, which is, for many of us, very easy to be separable from Lois sometimes. She could be tough. We love Lofi, but I will say this. I actually found something while I was going through her stuff, cleaning out her room yesterday. It was a note that I had wrote to her when I was a kid, and I think the last thing that I would like to say would be what I said when I was a little kid to her, and that was actually that no matter how I felt, no matter what, she would always cheer me up. And I'm very grateful for the fact that no matter what, she could make me laugh, she could make me smile, and she could make me forget anything that was going on in my young little life at the time, because she was hilarious. Thank you guys for coming.
Hey y'all, I'm Danny, Robin's son. Nana Lois, as we called her, or as I called her at least, she was an interesting cat for sure, as you can, well, you know her. I mean, you know, no matter, you know, what her choice of words were, there was an underlying compassion there that I retained from a young age. I remember having asthma attacks a lot as a young kid, and her holding my hand in the hospital and being there. So, you know, I kind of would have selective hearing when it came to certain things, and, you know, give her a pass, you know, because I knew that deep down she had a lot of love to give in her own way, and had some fond memories as, all, you know, probably like 7, 8, having like little slumber parties at her place, and she would actually take me to work with her at Ray Phillips, where she provided a lot of laughs, and got to know some of her coworkers, and you know, she had a strong work ethic in her own. You know, at that time in her life, she definitely. I remember getting up in the morning and doing her own version of yoga, some calisthenics she would do, and I'd never seen her move like that before. But she there was more to her than I think people might realize, and I'll miss her for sure. Thank y'all for being here.
In a moment, we're going to conclude our service with the words of the El Mole Rachamim, the memorial prayer, and then we will also recite the words of the Kaddish. I wanted to share with all of you that if anyone is wishing to make a contribution in memory of Lois, the family has suggested that you might consider the American Cancer Society, or of course a charity of your choice. There will be visitation immediately following the service here at the Marriott Courtyard, which is on Orange Place just off of Chagrin Boulevard, and visitation will be until 5 p.m. this afternoon. As you're able, I invite you to rise for the El Mole. El Mole Rachamim, shochen במרומים, המסי מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים. את נשמת יקירנו, שהלכה לעולמה בגן עדן, תחי מנוחתה. אנא בעל הרחמים אסתירך, בסתר כנפיך לעולמים, ותצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה, ותנוח בשלום. על משכבה ונאמר Amen. O merciful God, who dwells on high, who is full of compassion, grant perfect rest beneath the shelter of your divine presence. Among the holy and pure who shine as the brightness of the firmament, to our dear departed Lois Worth Sosna, who has gone now to her eternal home, may Lois's soul be bound up in the bonds of eternal life, and grant that her memory inspire all of us to noble and consecrated living. And to this we can say, Amen. We join now in the words of the Kaddish, and we recite together, Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha barichu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bialma v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shalama Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru. Amen. We pray that God, who makes peace in a high place, will send peace and comfort to you, the mourners, to Israel, and to all humankind. And to this we can say, Amen. Friends, on behalf of the family, we thank you for your love and support on this sad but very important day.